Hey, what's up guys? It's Dr. Steve here, and in this video I want to ask you if you trust your instincts. Your instincts are that little voice in your head and in your gut telling you that you should or shouldn't do something, and I'm asking you if you pay attention to it. And I'm going to tell you a story. Last night I played poker. I went with a friend to a casino and we played poker. And I hadn't played poker in a long time. I used to be an avid poker player. I used to be a really good poker player. I had won tournaments. I'd made money. And I used to be a really good poker player. And I hadn't played in a long time. So I sat down at the poker table and I was really uncomfortable. I was really uncomfortable just because I felt really out of my element, really out of my groove. And it took me a long time to get comfortable. I would say I probably sat there for a half an hour, an hour before I really started to get comfortable. I was timid, I was folding a lot, I really just wasn't, I was reluctant to play, and I was reluctant to play aggressively like I usually play. And it took me a while to kind of get back in the swing of things. But when I started getting back in the swing of things, my mind started racing. It started remembering all these statistics and calculating odds and all these different things that really started throwing me off because I couldn't remember if I was remembering things right or correctly. But I started listening to my gut and I started listening to my instincts and that little voice inside my head, and I started making decisions based on my instincts, and it worked out. It worked out. I started winning hands, I started getting more confident, I started remembering a lot of the things that I had forgotten about poker play, and I started winning. And every decision I made at the table from that point on worked. Now look, obviously there's an element of luck in poker. The cards have to come sometimes, right? Sometimes you play the man, sometimes you play the cards. It helps to know your opponent. But I was listening to my instinct, and by listening to my instinct, my decisions led to a positive result. And the reason I'm telling you this story is because a lot of times we don't pay attention to our instinct. We don't listen to our inner voice, and we make decisions sometimes based on conscious thought, sometimes on perceived logic, and therefore we make the wrong decision. The results don't pan out the way we want to. And a lot of times that's true in life. So I speak to a lot of people about what I do and how I make money working from home. Like I'm shooting this video right now, middle of the day, home. That's just what I do. And I talk to a lot of people about it because a lot of people ask me, hey, how do I make more money? How do I change my situation? How do I start making money working part-time from home? How do I retire my spouse, buy a new car, move to a new house? Whatever that may be, they ask me about it, and I tell them about it. But what most people do, the mistake most people make, is they make a decision based on perceived logic, by past experience, by conscious thought, thinking they know something that maybe they don't, instead of listening to their gut, instead of listening to their instinct, going with their instinct, and making a decision. So why I'm telling you this is because when you make a decision, if you're thinking about getting started in business, or if you're thinking about getting started in business with me, you need to make a decision based on instinct. Say, do I feel like this is going to be the right thing for me? Do I feel like Dr. Steve is the guy that I want to work with? He's the mentor that I want to follow. This is the system, this is the program that's going to work for me. Because if you go by perceived logic, if you go by past experiences, your conscious mind will never let you move forward from where you are now because it knows only negative things, right? It hears about things that didn't work. It remembers things it heard on the news about pyramid schemes and scams, and it relates everything new, everything different, and it tries to connect it to something in the past, most of which is negative. So that's why listening to your gut, you've heard the expression all the time, right? Go with your gut. When you're taking a test, and you've got narrowed it down to the two questions, what do? You go with your gut, right? We learned from a young age to go with our instincts, to go with our gut, right? The first choice is usually the right one. Why? Because your gut, your instinct told you that that was the right answer. And somehow we get away from that. When we grow up in life, when we become adults, we become skeptical, we become cynical, and we focus only on logic and conscious thought, and we get away from that, going with our gut, following our instinct, listening to our little voice inside. I don't know why. Because rarely does our instinct, rarely does our gut lead us wrong, lead us astray. So if you want to know more about what I do, there's a link below this video that will let you do that. But what I would encourage you to do is listen to your gut. Listen to that little voice inside your head and go with your instinct. Make a decision based on what your instincts tell you, what your gut says, not what your conscious thoughts say. Because rarely will your conscious, or sometimes even your subconscious, allow you to move forward until you open your mind and start listening to the other aspects of the process, like your instinct, like your gut, like that little voice inside your head that's trying to steer you in the right direction. Pay attention to it. Trust your instincts. They will rarely steer you wrong. So that's it, guys. This is Dr. Steve. I just wanted to share that with you. Instincts are so important. They worked for me last night. They work for me a lot in life when I make my decisions. Make your decisions and start considering your instinct and your little voice inside. So, guys, if you got some value out of this, please leave a comment. Make sure you click like. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I share lots of good stuff on my channel. You can check it out for yourself. Again, if you want to learn more about what I do, there's a link below this video. You can even connect with me on social media, and we can chat and learn a little bit more about each other. So that's it, guys. Dr. Steve. Hope you guys have a phenomenal day. Have a fantastic weekend. Whatever you're doing, make it a productive one. Make it an awesome one. And I'll see you next time.